has been an awakening. Have you felt it?
Hello everybody, I'm Mr. Watchtower, the voice of Apostate Awake, the podcast. You can find that on this channel, also on iTunes and Stitcher. This is just a quick follow-up from my previous video about Catholic criminality, more specifically child abuse. In it, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned that the Catholic Church so far to date has spent around $4 billion paying out for child abuse claims. I was unaware at the time of actually recording that voiceover that that was just the US alone. $4 billion in just the US alone, so I dread to think what it is on a grand scale. How people can think that this is just a few bad apples is totally beyond me. As I said towards the end of that previous video, I don't really understand if you think by now that it's just the bad apples and that now everything's better and the Catholic Church is back to its glorious reputation that it never actually had. You're simply denying reality, you're denying facts. And the only reason you would do that is through cognitive dissonance, so please be aware of that. Have a little look into it. I also just wanted to point out that the Catholic Church recently spent up to $2 million, in fact I think it was 2.1 million? 2.1 million from 2007 to 2015 lobbying against the victims of child abuse, in order to try and lobby against increasing the statute of limitations. Now, what is statute of limitations? I'm aware that many people don't realise this if they've never looked into it. So, the statute of limitations is a legal restriction, as by the law or a court decision, on the time that is allowed to elapse between the arising of a legal claim and the filing of a suit based on such the legal claim. All that really means is, imagine somebody had been abused by a priest. They had, let's say, for example, up to 10 years in order to report the case and be able to push that legally. There's a chance that somebody who has been abused would not come forward within those 10 years. It may take 15, 20 years. Some people deal with this their whole lives and never come forward. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you have decided to come forward in 15 years' time and not 10. Well, the statute of limitations could limit you. However, because it's reasonable to ask for justice no matter how long it's been, there was a chance that the statute of limitations could be increased beyond that time limit. The Catholic Church spent $2.1 million lobbying against such an increase, so they are actively fighting to stop the victims of child abuse from getting victory, getting justice. This is not what a loving church would do. Not what a church would do if they had any regard for the child, any regard for the victim, any regard for any of the parishioners. Like I said, this is just going to be a very short response video, responding to my previous video. I just wanted to have a little add-on, like a footnote. The Vatican's child abuse response. So I just wanted to highlight this, how the Vatican has responded. Since his election last year, obviously this is written a little while ago, Pope Francis has appeared to offer new hope to victims with a call for action on sex abuse in the Church. Under his papacy, a Vatican committee has been set up to fight sexual child abuse and help victims. First point, a Vatican committee has been set up to fight sexual abuse and help victims. It required an entire committee because this is extensive. In a report by Vatican Radio, the Pope asked for forgiveness for the, quote, evil damage to children caused by sexual abusers in the clergy and said sanctions would be imposed. The main point to take away from this is that the Pope requires forgiveness for evil. This is kind of the problem in the first place. The fact that children can be raped and the priest can be forgiven for the evil, for the sin that he has committed, that's kind of the problem in the first place. You don't get forgiven for your sin because vicarious redemption is ridiculous when you're thinking about the rape of a child. That child did not forgive you, nor did its family members. If Jesus forgave you, or God forgave you, fair play to you. But that's not how justice works. Vatican officials submitted publicly to questioning for the first time in January 2013 before a UN panel in Geneva, but refused to supply data on abuse cases. Again, if you think that the church is doing the right thing, if you think that the church is doing everything in its power to help the victims of child abuse, you simply are not looking at the facts. I don't know how much clearer I can say it. Anyway, please tune in for episode 4 of Apostate to Wait the podcast, coming shortly, hopefully starring Theory Fail. And if you'd like to pick up any t-shirts that I may or may not have designed that are inspired by Theory Fail, here's one. Here's another. I'll leave the links below the video. As ever, subscribe, comment, rate, subscribe to Stitcher, iTunes, all that kind of stuff. I'll see you soon.